The White House is in full drama mode this week, and no one seems to really know what's going on, except that on Wednesdays, they wear pink. Apparently, before Trump took office, someone, somewhere, intercepted some foreign phone calls and in the process spied on Trump and his transition team and some other American randos and got all kinds of nitty-gritty. Maybe. Then, someone in the intelligence community took all that surveillance, didn't redact the American names like they were supposed to, and just kind of went like this. Until everyone else in the intelligence community knew all the gossip. So then, some anonymous source ran and told Representative Nunes, who just happens to be the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, which has been investigating Trump, and who also just happened to be in the Trump transition team. So then, he went and told Trump and the Republican members of the committee, not the Democrats, and then told the reporters, all while the Democrats called him a liar and started yelling about treason and resignation and conflicts of interest. And everyone wants to know who Nunes supposedly talked to, but he's not telling. And all the intelligence people are keeping quiet and acting like they don't know anything, even though Trump's people are getting picked off one by one through similar surveillance revelations, and there's been a pretty obvious war between the deep state and the current administration since the inauguration. Meanwhile, Bob Woodward of the Washington Post pointed out that, hey, not redacting the names of the Americans the government accidentally spied on is actually a little bit illegal. And James Comey of the FBI is just quietly sitting and twiddling his thumbs, and more people are suddenly redacting their claims that Trump and Russia colluded. Even Senator Chris Coons, who just a few weeks ago said the FBI had transcripts of Trump phone calls proving collusion. And now he's backpedaling, saying he thinks they have transcripts that might provide insight. And then today, Nunes went to reporters and called the whole thing off, now saying he isn't sure that Trump or anyone else was spied on, even by accident. Except now he's also saying the whole thing, the Trump meeting, the press conferences, the whole 9 yards, are because he was concerned it could have happened. But yet he's still seen the reports monitoring Trump and his team. So what does that even mean? Former officials that aren't even involved in this whole thing are now claiming that there are reports, but that the surveillance was on foreign officials who were talking to other foreign officials and just so happened to be talking about Trump and his secret team members. Names are still supposed to be redacted unless they're critical to reading comprehension, so Trump and company's names wouldn't be redacted because they were the topic of conversation, not the people having the conversation, making it 100% spiffy and legal, at least by the definitions of the people whose job it is to spy on people. But that's not even the only Trump-Russia witch hunt in the news this week. The AP reports that Trump's former campaign manager was secretly working for a Russian billionaire to influence American politics in favor of Putin and the Russian government. Supposedly, Paul Manafort proposed these plans to a rich Putin ally in 2005 and snagged himself a $10 million yearly contract in 2006. They were in cahoots until 2009, which the AP says it can confirm through interviews, business records, and memos. Manafort served as Trump's campaign manager from March until August and denies his Russia connection was political in nature. Now here's a good one about the new healthcare bill. Remember the famous Nancy Pelosi line about Obamacare that we have to pass the bill to know what's in it? Well, now Republican Representative Chris Collins told MSNBC they have to pass the new one before they can explain it. Despite everyone scrambling to amend it at the last minute and no one even having time to read the damn thing, Trump tried to push a Friday vote, threatening it was this bill or no bill. Too many Republicans were still against it because the bill was downright shitty, so Paul Ryan went crying all the way back to the White House because he didn't want to be embarrassed when the bill failed. The latest version of the bill mucked around and pretended to give a bunch of healthcare decisions back to the states, but used such elusive and ambiguous language that it actually left the feds still in control. It would have removed the individual mandate, but only kind of, sort of, not really, with mandatory penalties for lapses in coverage, and left most of the original Obamacare intact. After some Paul Ryan begging and pleading, Trump pulled the bill just half an hour before the scheduled vote. But how about some lighter stories? 4chan has struck again, leaving the score at 4chan 4 and Shia LaBeouf 0. After last week's Capture the Flag game, LaBeouf decided to move his He Will Not Divide Us livestream to Liverpool because, quote, America is simply not safe enough for this artwork to exist. The live stream was taken up by an art foundation and was removed about a day later after the 4chan crew scaled the 5-story building and attempted to take down the flag. 4chan itself wasn't able to remove the flag, but the art center took it down under the advice of the police. Philly's beverage tax has led to even more consequences aside from the obvious decrease in sales and subsequent layoffs and economic catastrophe. The greedy soda companies, as Mayor Kenny likes to call them, have decided they simply won't supply products to stores anymore. Pepsi announced this week that they'll be pulling 2-liter and 12-packs from all Philly grocery stores, as well as their Gatorade, Tropicana, and Lipton products. A string of racist flyers appeared on college campuses recently, claiming America is a white nation and urging students to report illegal aliens as part of their civic duty. At one college in Minnesota, however, it turned out that these posters were actually put up by the Diversity Leadership Council. The organization claims that they put up the posters to educate their peers about the issues of bias, but really it just kind of looks like they cried wolf for the hell of it. Incidentally, they didn't admit to the posters until several students reported them to the school's bias response team. The school called it an invisible theater project. Okay. A Washington Post poll this week revealed that 59% of Baltimore residents believe their government is corrupt. 24% think all Maryland government is corrupt. This comes during an investigation into 30 months of wiretapping on local officials that revealed all kinds of fun stuff like bribes and licensing deals. And yet the residents just keep on voting. A Detroit court recently argued that people can't sue police who shoot their dogs during drug raids unless the dogs were properly licensed with the state. The court states that unlicensed dogs are unlawful property and are therefore contraband that the police can confiscate or kill. The particular case in question, mind you, was a pot raid that was so serious that the court dropped the charges because the officers didn't even show up. This week in feminism, liking only penises or only vaginas makes you cis-sexist and transphobic. According to trans feminist Riley Dennis, having a genital preference is a form of discrimination. So if a straight guy likes only women with vaginas or only men with penises, it's offensive and is a product of cis society. Further, preferences are only okay if a straight guy doesn't say, "I would never date a woman with a penis." Cosmopolitan came out with its own next-level feminism garbage this week, with an article explaining why men are sexist if they enjoy giving women sexual pleasure. A new study examined men and women and found that men like it when their partners orgasm, which the study labeled a masculinity achievement. And this is bad because it means a woman's orgasm isn't only about her, and Cosmo says now the men are making it all about themselves and aiding the patriarchy and hijacking the orgasm and forgetting that sex is supposed to liberate women, which I have to say is not one of the purposes of sex listed in the pamphlet that I got, but maybe I just lost a page. Also, Chelsea Clinton will be receiving a Lifetime Achievement Award next month during Variety Magazine's Women in Power Luncheon. The awards are supposed to go out to women who made a lifetime impact with their humanitarian work. Other honorees have dedicated time to fighting homelessness and child trafficking and created legal clinics to help marginalized populations. And Chelsea Clinton is getting her award for being the vice chair of the Corrupt Clinton Foundation. Cool beans. And finally, a psychologist at Emory University published an article that argued that microaggressions aren't real and don't have any long-lasting or traumatic impact on people, and so social justice warriors and feminists should just shut up about it. Except he said it a lot nicer. That concludes your liberty-related news for the week. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you really like my videos and want to help me spread the message of liberty, you can help me by supporting me on Patreon. Until next week, thanks for watching and helping to keep the message of liberty alive.